morning. Welcome to SJU. It is Monday. I have got with me an Ed. Good morning. I've got with me a Dan Murrell. We're going to talk about so many things today. We're going to talk about the new Cats trailer. You know we are. We're going to be talking about some new stuff going on with studio theater relationships, and we're going to answer some fan questions. Good morning. Again, welcome back to another SJU. I am Danielle. We have a new Cats trailer. I'm very excited about. You've seen this.
I have.
You've seen
a couple times.
The new Cats trailer.
I'm very invested in this at this point.
So we got to see a little bit more of the cats and catting. They're still shaking. I'm trying to find a polite way to say this that doesn't get us yanked off breasticles. I don't know. I feel like that's a good one. I feel like I won't get us taken off there. So we're learning a little bit more about the cats now. Dan.
Yes.
You've been doing Uncharting with Dan.
Yes.
Your Meow Down.
We've been running not only a Meow Down to cats, but a cats education initiative where we meet a new cat every week. So I feel like I'm much more equipped to talk about this trailer than I was the last trailer because I've researched many of these felines. I know a little bit more about them and about the story. And this was very interesting to me based on what I've seen, based on what I've seen of the show. I feel like, based on this trailer, that they're running the risk with Cats fans of this movie being accused of being Kino, cats in name only.
Really?
I feel like, first of all, they're hiding the fact that it's a musical, like they do with every musical.
Right.
And then secondly, I don't think that Jenny Anydots hit herself in the face in the Andrew Lloyd Webber stage show. I feel like they may be walking a very treacherous tightrope here.
Oh, there's definitely some cordoning that was made just
there's a lot of cordoning that's been done on the show. Yes.
I need to cordon off that area.
So, with all of your, I'm interested now because I know that you were specifically looking for like different characters.
Yes.
Did you do a plot breakdown, or you were just looking for characters and their place in Cats?
There does not appear to be a plot from what I've done in my research.
Yeah, you tried to have me on to explain it to you. I had nothing, and I've seen the play.
From what I know of the plot, I don't this whole thing of like many will compete, one will win. Like that's an odd way from what I know. That would be like marketing the Hunger Games that way.
Wait, hold on. Go back.
That is Skimbleshanks. We met Skimbleshanks on Charting with Dan yesterday. Ginger Tabby Cat. He works on a train.
Oh.
Yes. Although I did find my thing, which is that one of my favorite gifs is the Homer Simpson backing into the hedges gif.
Yes. It's a great gift.
There's one in this trailer that I hope will take its place, which is Idris Elba McCavity, the mystery cat, poofing into a puff of glitter. I hope that will someday replace the Homer Simpson backing into the hedges, because that seems like a great, I want to use it, a great just a Twitter thing for like, I'm out.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
That is, by the way, Idris Elba playing McCavity, the mystery cat, who, as we've discussed, is a ruffian. He's a menace. He wears a hat. He wears a cat hat.
So
listen here, cat bruv.
Ed,
I run these streets. Bruv, listen to my album.
I hope he raps. He's gonna rap, right?
Dude,
I want a cat rap.
Dude, a handsome movie star, stunt driving rapper. Take that, black guys of England. But anyway, so go ahead.
Ed.
Cats.
Ed. Have you ever seen Cats? I don't know if we've ever discussed the Cats with you, or I haven't, at least. Not curious.
No, I haven't seen. Just to let you know where I'm coming from, I've seen Dreamgirls 4 times.
Yeah, you have. Up top, Ed. Yeah, you have.
But not Cats. You know, my mom was not interested in a Sunday matinee of Cats.
Based on this trailer, and I know you've seen the last one, what would you think the plot of Cats is?
Oh, remarkable. Okay. I think that there's... I don't know that I can even freestyle a dumb plot out of that trailer. They seem to dance a lot. They seem to prance a lot. They seem to be in a large world that has like no humans. Like the humans either... If this was after the apocalypse or something, like almost like a Nine. Remember that weird Russian movie Nine with the sort of sock puppet like people who survived after the apocalypse? It kind of has that vibe. You know, just after the apocalypse, cats run amok. Nat Geo would go nuts with this type of thing. Am I close? Is that what it is?
I don't know if it's.
Is Jason Derulo's only line in this movie? Hey!
They did that twice in the trailer,
Yes,
right?
They did.
Twice in the trailer, Jason Derulo looks and goes, hey!
Hey!
But is
the line in the movie.
What happens in the play?
A bunch of cats introduce themselves.
Yep. And they all have like little songs and dances about how, hi, I'm this cat and I'm this other cat.
And then it ends.
Bye.
Guys, I mean,
Well, and then there is one huge cat ballad, and that's like the ballad that everybody knows. Memory, which is Jennifer Hudson's cat. When I say these things, they're going to sound like spoilers, but I trust you they are not. Grisabella is a very down on her luck cat who in exchange for things offers her cat self. I think that's the best way I can say that, right?
Sure.
Oh, so she's not a cat madam. She's a cat other.
Well,
cat madam.
There's a lot of layers to Grisabella to be uncovered.
Oh, good.
I believe we saw Mungo, Jerry, and Rumpelteazer there.
Yes.
Alongside Victoria in one of those shots, played by Francesca Howard.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see. Well, Francesca Howard, they made a really big deal. Like this
Hayward?
Hayward?
I think it's
I'm not sure.
Hayward.
We'll have to look that up. But yeah, made a very big deal about how this is a huge thing for her. I'm very interested to hear what they're, with musicals, they always have to add the new song because for the Oscars, it has to be a new one. Is it going to be Taylor Swift or is it going to be Jennifer Hudson? Who's going to get that new one?
Tay-Tay sings it for they're sending it, they're pushing it for the Oscars already. So she performs it on the soundtrack now, the movie itself. Again, the character that Taylor Swift is playing does not seem like the kind of character that would sing that song. She's a little more playful. So. It's the truth. So I don't know. That's a good question. Or is it in credits? I think it might be in credits.
That's what they did
That's the cheat.
For Chicago.
Yes.
It was in credits.
That's the cheat.
How playful do you have to be described as playful as a cat?
Very.
That's a lot of play.
Very coy, very playful.
So the cats, if I'm getting this right, the cats introduce themselves, and some of the cats are rapscallions, and some of them are James Corden. And James Corden is kind of a cat bully of the streets. He's like kind of a fey cat bully.
He's a gentleman. His name is Bustopher Jones, and he's. I'm not joking.
These names,
he's a gentleman
I love
cat.
It.
Dan, what is your favorite cat's name of all of the cats' names?
Well, Mr. Mistopheles is hard to top.
It's pretty good.
Although Skimbleshanks, whom we met yesterday, Skimbleshanks is that's a pretty good cat name. Old Deuteronomy is a great one. But then you've got weird ones like Victoria and Gus that are just
where did
regular
you come
names.
from? That's just a name. That's like if you buy a dog and you name him Scott.
Yeah.
So there's no people.
This is my puppy, Michael.
But just let me get this right. There's no people.
It's all cats.
Not in
It's
the
all
show.
cats.
No, yes.
Because I could understand if it's cats and they're laying on cat-sized things, and it's the is it the Aristocats? Because Aristocats live with people, right?
Yeah, I think imagine it like Toy Story, where like if the people are like not around, the cats are like playing.
Yeah, when the people are away, the cats will play or whatever.
They have their own tribe. They're the Jellicle cats.
Oh.
And
wait, all of them, or just some of them within the cast?
Well, that's the conflict of the show.
Oh.
Who's in the tribe and who's not in the tribe.
So like there's like a Scottish cat that's like, they'll never take on alleyways.
There are actor cats. There's a cat that works on a train.
Cat trains?
No, a regular train, but the cat works on it.
These cats have jobs, Ed.
Yes, there's implied cat prostitution. This is a whole world of cats, but just cats. It's like they have their own world.
Wow.
But inside of a human world.
So conceivably, there's a cat that's down on his luck and is mad that he can't go to the human doctor because he has a job at his human workplace comp didn't come in, so he can't go to the doctor. This is like a world that could exist.
This is a world where anything can exist because I don't.
I like the catnip.
It's kind of like,
I love it.
It's kind of like an American Tale.
Yeah,
where
catnip.
like there's the humans and then there's like the cat world, but the cat world has its own sub-world that is much like the human world in its design and execution.
Okay, well, after all this crap that we talked about the Snyder Cut yesterday and stuff like that, I am not going to get on here today and make fun of someone else's art. Okay, This, I think, is very artful what they're doing. I think it's a very actory, like, this shows all my training. I haven't danced like this since '85. You know, I love that aspect of it. But beyond that, I don't. If you're not interested in that stuff, I don't know what there is for you.
Cats is a terrible musical. It's not. That's why I want to see it. It's not a good musical. That's why I'm so excited for everyone to.
But it seems like they may have changed a lot of it.
Yeah.
So then it becomes like, okay, if you were going to do a faithful musical version, then the musical people would love it. But if they're going to do things like a lot of physical broad comedy, which is what they're showcasing, maybe that's not so much the movie. Then I feel like the musical fans are going to be turned off. So then you're making it for a general audience who I'm not quite sure is going to be on board.
That hide the musical thing. That hide the musical thing is funny because it's almost like hiding the fact that Commando is an action movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I said I'd take care of you last. You know what I mean? Like, where how do you camouflage
it's
that?
like Les Mis and Phantom of the Opera. It's not like a musical. Well, unless they execute it differently. It's not like a musical where there's dialogue scenes and then every once in a while they break into a song. It's like a musical.
Yeah, it's like Hamilton, where it's just all the time.
Right, so
like a bunch of scenes from the Die Hard trailer of him just punching the Nakatomi Tower computer, hanging out with the guys at the party, crunching his toes in the carpet, and then it ends. You can't hide the fact that it's a musical.
Everything about this movie, from the look of it to the way it's being marketed, is bizarre. And it remains my most anticipated movie for the rest of the year.
I'm very excited. That's all I want to talk about.
We're 32 days away.
How much worse is this than Chicago?
Well, I love Chicago.
Chicago's a great musical.
I know. I understand that Chicago is a great musical. I've seen it, and it even affects me. Mr. Cellophane, love it. But on a scale of Chicago to off Broadway.
I will make an exception. I normally, when people ask me scale things like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, I'm like, I think that's like too. It doesn't capture nuance. In this case, I will make an exception on a scale from if Chicago, in the scale is 10, Cats is like -2. And I can't wait for everyone to see it. I'm very excited.
We'll see.
All right, speaking of positive things, thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, sharing, turning on the notifications, commenting, hitting that bell. Again, you're the reason, thank you. You're the reason why we get to do the show. We're really thankful for it. We get to do all kinds of really, really great stuff, and it's because of all of your support. Thank you. We love you so much. And we also, in part, to help thank you for how much you've supported us over the years, particularly those of you who have purchased your tickets for our Fathom event for our Galaxy Quest documentary, Never Surrender, next Tuesday. So we love seeing your pictures and your questions. We have been doing call-outs. We'll be going back to doing call-outs soon. But we did a bunch of research, and we finally found a way that we can successfully take your questions live on air, which we'll be doing on a very special SJU next Monday, and I am so pumped for it. So you get to ask us all your stuff. It's a fan thank you Monday, and you can sign up to participate in the link in the description. So if you want to participate, you hit that link, and we'll do that on Monday. It's going to be really exciting. And then next, again, because of all the support that you have made possible, you've given us a platform. We want to use it to help other people, and we want to use that to showcase other organizations that are doing really good things. This month, we are highlighting Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. It is the nation's largest volunteer-supported mentoring network, and if you're interested in volunteering to mentor a youth, visit bbbs.org to learn more. And next, we have got some of that tasty broccoli that I love so much. I am so excited for this next story. I love this stuff.
I am super excited.
So, a historic court ruling could change studio-theater relationship. This is via the Wall Street Journal and Slash Films. The Paramount decrees. Sorry, that just sounds so dramatic.
I know. The Paramount decrees. 1417.
The Paramount decrees and the Dark Materials.
But so the Paramount decrees, which is a real thing, which effectively forced the movie studios, which until that happened, they did own their own movie theaters where they were able to distribute their own films. They were forced to divest themselves of that business because of the negative effect such vertical integration had on competitive business practices. It's funny, vertical integration is often seen as a good thing now. So those rules have stood. There have been like some exceptions, but in order to get that, you have to like talk to a court first. For example, Disney owns El Capitan Theater, but again, they have to have court approval for that. And so now they may change, with the government announcing it will ask a federal court in New York this week to unwind the rules completely. So, Dan, is there any kind of upside to this that you can see just starting off?
Maybe. I feel like you're at the mercy of how people choose to take advantage of these rules. Here's one potential upside. It was brought up in the Slash Film article about this, I think, as well as the original, which is that Amazon or Netflix would be free to purchase or own theaters in which they decide to show their content. So it could be a path for streaming services, streamers that are not in the traditional movie studio business, to own a theater. They can potentially market their films like The Irishman, for example, or The King with Timothée Chalamet, or Amazon with the movies that they help, like Brittany Runs a Marathon or Honey Boy. They would be open to buying maybe more theaters throughout the country that could allow wider distribution theatrically of their movies. So that's a possible upside.
Right.
And then everything else is awful, in my opinion.
I mean, there's already a bunch of it. This has been so much the discourse lately, and I love movie discourse, but some of it's starting to get on my nerves. But there has been some stuff that's been very genuinely interesting. People complaining about how it feels like these huge, blockbuster movies are taking up a lot of space in theaters, and it feels like a lot of smaller mid-budget stuff is getting pushed out and therefore not being made as much. Does this feel like this could contribute even more to that?
This would make it substantially worse. Yeah, I think, because here's what could happen is if these regulations go away, the way that it works now is theaters are owned by theater companies. They decide what movies they program. Right. There's already been, we talked about this a couple years ago with The Last Jedi, where already Disney was putting restrictions on theaters, saying like, well, if you book Last Jedi, you have to play it for 4 weeks in your biggest theater, and you have to give us X amount of the ticket revenue, which is more than another film, or you don't get the movie. This is how a studio dealt with a theater chain that they don't own. Right. Imagine now if these regulations go away, now Disney or Sony or Warner Brothers or Paramount, but let's be honest, Disney, is free to potentially buy any theater chain that they wish. So let's say Disney bought Regal. Now Disney, the studio, controls the programming, everything about the Regal studio chain, which means they could decide Fox and Disney, only movies shown at Regal. Well, that pushes everything that's not their movies off of all Regal screens nationwide. Will they do that? I don't know. Again, these are possibilities. Or they say, hey, we're Fox and Disney, we own Regal, our movies play here. You want to play to Regal, you give us 70%. Which again either means that that the competition is literally having to funnel money into the other studio that they're technically up against, or that those studios say like, well, then we're not going to play Regal. Same difference. Am I saying that a studio will do that? No, I'm not saying that they will do that. But what this does is open up the possibility for stuff like that. In addition to things like when they talk about things like block booking is basically the way that studios used to do is they go to a theater and they're like, if you want, Disney could go to a theater and say, if you want Avengers 4, you have to book every other movie from our studio in 4 theaters for the next 3 years, or you don't get that movie, which is a huge potential revenue. So then, you're restricting the laws on a studio basically leveraging their entire catalog in order to get to I hate to use the word strong arm, but there's no better word, to strong arm a theater into booking all of their titles, or they get none of them. So that means it doesn't matter if they want to show Artemis Fowl or whatever, they have to if they want to get this. The rules are only as damaging as studios choose to flex and exercise them. But we're also talking about large corporations, and I've yet to see many cases where if a large corporation has a chance to grab a financial advantage or to shut out a competition or to flood the marketplace with their product, that they don't do that. Right. Again, Mr. Green Crunchy Granola here, that's why these regulations exist. Is to prevent that kind of thing. And so they're saying this is in the name of the theatrical distribution model changing. I would argue that these rules are needed now more than they ever have, because we are rapidly going back to the way it was in the 1940s, where a very, very small amount of content makers control a very large portion of the apparatus, and I think this risks a real broadening of the haves and have-nots. Also, by the way, reportedly, this would get rid of the law that disallowed studios from setting minimum ticket prices. Cool. So we could also potentially be in a thing where the market and the theater chains don't determine what the minimum ticket price is. The studios do. The government says that they'll be waiting in the wings, ready to jump in if anything looks like it's an antitrust. But give me a freaking break. Come on. No, I think this is
stellar work they've been doing with that so far.
I know I'm always penny chicken little, whatever this is. I think this is potentially disastrous. Particularly to things that are not from major studios, because if they buy up all the chains, then guess what? You're going to get movies from the 4 studios that own the theater chains, and you're not going to get much else. And we're already very, very much into that world. So, long story short, I'm anti. Sorry for the filibuster.
No. And thank you. You returned your time to the floor. Yeah, no, I agree. It's one of those where you do, when you mention like the Netflixes and folks like that being able to buy theaters, that for me is like the only hope of getting to see some of this mid-budget stuff being in theaters now, if it goes this route, is with a Netflix or an Apple or whoever saying, okay, well, if they're going to buy some theaters, maybe we can buy, and they're not going to be able to buy as many as a Disney. No one can. But that would be the only route that we would have to being able to see that stuff. And even then, again, like that stuff is going to go in the theaters, but it's only going to be the stuff that they want to be considered for awards. Everything else is still going to be on streaming, and if anything, it just makes, we've now turned mid-budgets into something that you only watch from home. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, and that's the real sad part, because I understand Dan's ire, and I don't think it's Chicken Little at all. I think somebody's throwing acorns from a tree, and they're distinctly hitting you. It may not be the sky falling, but something is hitting you. You can't deny that. However, I would really love for antitrust law. I mean, I was talking to my son Viacom about this, and I mean, it just seems like we're heading to a place where we're gonna get stuff like that. What I just said, you know what I mean? Because there's so few of these companies, and I just think it really is time to have some Elliot Ness on this antitrust jazz. Somebody willing to go full Bobby Kennedy with all that entails, because the Mouse Gang is indeed encroaching. The Mouse Gang, the Sony Gang, all the gangs are getting together to have a good old-fashioned beat it, to tie the wrists together knife fight in the streets, but it's not going to be knives. It's going to be nuclear bombs that's going to blow up consumers. And I think that's whack. However, think of a world, right? Marty Scorsese, my good buddy Marty, was talking about a world where all these theaters basically push out all the little movies. Well, what if there was a world where we could actually make the trust laws right and have Disney only be able to buy a certain amount, and people, you can, whoever you are, you can only buy a certain amount of theaters. You cap them.
Right.
So there's only a certain amount of people buying theaters, period. So mostly it's Regal, and maybe somebody will buy Cinemark and stuff like that. But like AMC is going to be like, nah, y'all can't buy us. Certain people are going to be like, nah, we're too big for you. You can't swallow us, Anaconda. And a few other theaters they'll buy. And so we got the Netflix theaters where I can go see The Irishman. I ain't never heard so many cane sounds in a movie in my life. So many cane sounds, but it was fantastic. It was a wonderful immersive experience, and I had to go down damn near the Miracle Mile or somewhere to see the damn thing, because it wasn't playing in my neighborhood. I would love for theaters, long story boring, I don't want to do my own filibuster, but the bottom line is I would love to go into a theater where you pay your money for your ticket, and it is a theme park, Marty. It is a theme park. Just like in a theme park, they don't care if you ride the teacups 15 times or you ride the real dangerous. You already got your money because you're in there. You're paying for stuff. You're paying for your family. You're doing this. They got you. What if a theater was like that, where it's almost equal? Like you pay to get in, and you can go partake in Marty Scorsese land. You can go over, you can go over to Indyville. You can go over to Big Explosion Land. And theaters are these big giant multiplexes where you can go to these different sections to go see what you want at your leisure. And you pay like a membership fee, like Movie Pass. No, you pay a membership fee or something like that.
Or like the AMC,
Let's amp up the way that people experience movies. Let's have you be able to, I saw Jojo Rabbit on a screen that was like IMAX size. And let me tell you something, Mean Gene, that was totally different than being with my natural butter and a little 1942 seat, looking at a screen this big, eating my natural butter popcorn. Being able to see something like Jojo Rabbit bombastically, the same way I see Avengers, was life-changing. I like cried, LOL, the whole thing. I was in it. And I'd love to see people get a chance to see that. We see so many beautiful, transformative pieces of art on this, or on an iPad or something. And it's a travesty.
You don't like watching your art right here?
Dude.
You don't like it just right?
Dude, imagine being on the super bus going to San Francisco watching The Irishman like this. Yeah. I cannot think of anything more execrable. I cannot.
I think here's the one hope that we have, or one of them, is that we get a corporate war in a different sense, where in the big chains, AMC, Regal, etc., stand up and say, because here's the nightmare scenario if you're, for example, AMC. These regulations are dropped. Disney buys Regal. I don't mean to pick on Disney. It's just that they're the 800-pound gorilla right now. Yeah. They are unquestionably the juggernaut in the room currently. So Disney buys Regal. So they own Regal theaters, and AMC, you know, they can still get Disney movies, but Disney says, like, oh yeah, AMC, no, you get Star Wars and stuff, but Regal gets it for a week before you do, because we own them, and then we book our movies in your theater a week later. That's a nightmare scenario for AMC, because now they're at a massive competitive disadvantage, because it doesn't matter to Disney where you go see the movies now. You can go see the Regal. You can go, they get money either way, but now AMC loses the first week of a massive thing. So my hope is that perhaps this will receive a lot of pushback, because theater chains themselves don't want to be put in a position where they feel like they have to sell to a certain company or another, because otherwise they're going to be leveraged out of business. Because someone else is going to buy the other chain, and then you go exclusivity, and then you lose this.
Well, is there any legal precedent for limiting the number of something that you can buy? Like, I don't want to take it to this metaphor again, but you know me and my chicken metaphors. I was straight up in Popeyes, and they only let you buy 2 sandwiches. They only let you buy 2. If you want to freak out and you want to buy chicken sandwiches for your whole family, well, you shouldn't have came during the gold rush. You know what I mean? So once you get some chicken on the bone, it's better anyway, dummy. But anyway, we won't go into that. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? There's got to be some, if Popeyes can limit, if the Mouse Gang can't walk in and buy more chicken sandwiches than anybody, so why can't we just put it in the laws that the Mouse Gang, when the Mouse Gang comes sauntering up, you can buy these 5 theaters in these different territories, one in Kentucky, one in this, one in that, Eastern Seaboard, whatever.
That's very close to what it is now, where it is, if you want to buy a theater, you can go and ask and say, hey, like, I would like to buy this theater, and the court either approves or they don't approve. So they can that's already an option that they do have.
I don't want that to be torn asunder, and it sounds like that's going to happen. And like I said, I don't want Chicken Little either, but that does suck. And again, my utopian idea about people just kind of going to the movies and treating, the thing I was really trying to get at is, we need to retrain people to think of things like Jojo Rabbit, things like, you know, from smaller places that are like Honey Boys and stuff. Think of those the same way you think of Avengers. They're both real movies.
Right.
But kids don't think like that, man. They don't want to see. It seems like they don't want to see Robert De Niro like drive a truck and talk to Joe Pesci for like 3 minutes, but I do. And I think they would too if they got exposed to it, and they didn't have to watch it on a little baby screen.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's what, and I'm sure it all happens. I'm getting a lot of okay boomers, even though I'm not a boomer. That thing now has just transcended to like, I disagree with you. It doesn't.
You sound
anymore.
Old.
Yeah, I'm like 30 years out of the boomer range, but whatever. To some people, I'm a boomer. That's fine. But a lot of people just like, Dan, give it up. You're clinging onto the past and this idea of a theatrical experience, and move on. It's like I won't. It's not like I'm railing against television.
Right.
I'm not railing against the internet. There is a substantial difference between seeing a movie at home on a small screen and seeing a movie on a big screen. And I'm not saying it's the only valid way to see a movie, but I'm saying it is a substantially different experience, and one that I believe, as a cinephile myself, this was how the movies were largely originally meant to be seen. It is how many filmmakers make their movies, like Martin Scorsese, like Christopher Nolan, make their movies to be seen on a big screen. Blade Runner 2049 was not made to be seen at home. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy it at home. I'm not judging you if you watched it at home, but it was made by Denis Villeneuve and the people behind it to be seen on a big screen. So I'm not saying that the only valid way to watch a movie is on a big screen, but if you're saying shut up and sit down about fighting for the big screen experience, I won't. As a film lover, I will scrap and fight and claw to defend having this be an option to see movies.
And there are TV shows I want to see on the big screen.
Yeah.
I if they ever did like once Watchmen wrapped up, if they wanted to break that into like parts where it's like, you know, here's a marathon over 3 days of all of them, I would love to see the Watchmen TV show on the big screen. I would love to see The Mandalorian on the big screen because those look amazing. And it's not that they look terrible, but it's also like, you know, some things are not meant to be seen like this. It's just not.
Yeah. So, and I believe this is a movie a move that could substantially limit the types and amounts of movies that could be seen on a big screen, and I think that's shameful. And I don't want to see access to art being cut off by an over scraping and bowing to corporations. They're doing fine.
Yeah.
And people that are making you know, the Moonlights and the Waves and the
Queen and Slim.
Well, Honey Boy is Amazon, so then they're fine. But you know, these smaller movies, they're the ones that need champions out there, and they need screens and they need eyeballs. So I won't be quiet. I'm fighting for that big screen.
Go see Queen and Slim if you can. All right.
Chain myself to the big screen. I'm going to be at the last big screen in the country with chains. Like, you shall not pass. I saw it in the theater. It was great. Balrog's not the same on the small screen.
All right, we're going to get to some fan questions. We have got one from, and I'm sorry if I butchered this, Aditya Nair Sathizan, who asks, what movies make you go, I can't say that I love it, I can't say that I hate it, I just can't seem to forget it. For them, it is the Korean movie Old Boy, I get that, and Nick Cage's Mandy. Ooh. Those are some good ones. For me, just because of thinking of how disturbing like these that were mentioned were, again, just the original Garbage Pail. I love original. The Garbage Pail Kids movie was, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's just really disturbing. Just the style of the puppets or whatever they used for the Garbage Pail Kids. It just really, like, that movie used to give me nightmares. Absolute nightmares.
Yeah, for me, it's movies that are just like that don't fall into that category of just like, oh, I'm gonna pop this on and watch it.
Yeah.
Requiem for a Dream. Ooh. I mean, it's a fantastic film, but I can't be like, I love that movie. It's amazing, but it's also like it's
I'm never
ordeal.
Gonna see it again.
It's an ordeal to go through. Like, I'll watch it maybe once every 10 years. It's not one of those that I can just pop on whenever, and I think that's fine. I'm trying to think if there's one that was like so odd. I felt that way a little bit about Joker in the sense that again, I thought Joaquin Phoenix was phenomenal in the film, and I felt like it was a very powerful and effective film. It's one that I recommended, but I didn't walk out and go like, I love that movie. It's just it was definitely unforgettable. I still think about it, but that kind of fell into that category for me as well. Trying to think if there's one more borderline. Yeah, Mandy was definitely one where it's just like, I'm glad I saw it. Yeah, but I don't know what the hell it was, but I'm glad I saw it.
I love Venom for you, Dan.
Venom?
I liked Venom. I thought Venom was dumb and silly and goofy.
Venom was great.
Yeah.
I unequivocally love Venom.
Yeah.
Ed?
I don't know. So, some things are like those things that you recognize that it's an achievement and you don't like it that much. Okay. Like, I really don't think I like The Shining.
Okay.
I recognize it as an achievement. I recognize it as awesome. I think I might like Citizen Kane more than it, because at least it has a story that I'm not going to fight these movies, okay? They're great. They're both great. But I'm just saying, like, entertainment value, it doesn't have it for me. You know what I mean? But it's a great achievement. So I haven't watched The Shining more than maybe 3 times. But maybe some people would only watch it once if they liked it as much. But I like Kubrick so much, and I like the amount of thought he brought into things. I also saw Magnolia like one time.
Yeah.
Like, and I was a Boogie Nights kid. I was a Boogie Nights kid.
I love Boogie
When
Nights.
Paul Thomas Anderson came on the scene, I was like, this is my Scorsese. This is my generation Scorsese. Look at this camera move. He goes under the water to look at the ladies, and he pops back up, and he's talking to Dirk. And oh, this is amazing. And then Magnolia dropped, and I'm just like, these frogs, man, and it's oh man.
I think when you talk about achievement, I think Dunkirk was that for me. Where it's like I can't say I love it, I can't say I hate it, but I'm really glad. And that's another one, got to be seen in movie theaters. Like it's because that's like an experience, and it's about being there and like the sound and everything.
You know what I feel that way about, and this is ultimate respect. But I never have to see Saving Private Ryan again either. Because when you see that in a real movie theater and you go in thinking that you're going to see some dopey John Wayne, John Wayne sucks and he's got little feet. Anyway,
I'm not fact checking that.
dude, go to the man's Chinese. You could put a lady's hand in one of his heels. It's so silly how little that guy was. Anyway, so he's so big in so many people's minds. Okay, boomer. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, you think you're gonna go see some dopey John Wayne picture or uplifting Spielbergian treatise on war, maybe 1941 with less funny stuff, quote unquote funny stuff.
Yeah.
And it just makes you think about your life and the fact that you're a punk from the worst generation and the fact that you have never known true bravery or true cowardice because you've never been tested like these people. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, this is my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like that's an experience. And I kind of love that, but I don't need it too many times in my life. Last things last, funny games. I never have to see that again.
Never again.
It said an important thing though about privilege, because I was talking to another guy who looks like me, and we were like, if we came up on the steps and start talking to those fools, there's no way the rest of the movie happens. They close the door, they say, get the hell off my property. But because these guys looked the way they looked, they were able to go wherever they wanted. And that level of privilege and largesse and access, there are people who are bad that have that.
Right.
And they convince you they're good because the world's convinced you that certain people are good. Mm-hmm. And some of them are very much not. And your naivete will be used against you.
Right.
That's what the message of that movie is. And I love that. Yeah. But I don't need to see it again.
I thought of one more, which is Audition.
Ooh, good one. Oof. Good one.
You haven't seen it.
Compliance too.
Yeah, saw it once, don't need to see it again.
I never need to see Compliance.
Glad I saw
And
it,
did she say
Oh boy, Mandy.
Dude, I saw The Devil. It's also
Where?
a Korean movie.
Here?
Mr. Mephistopheles is licking himself over there. But I saw The Devil. It's a Korean movie. It's literally, long story boring, it's about a cop who catches a serial killer and does so much bad stuff to him, you start thinking that maybe the serial killer should catch a break. Mm-hmm. That's how, you know what I mean? It's so, it takes you on such a roller coaster. You thought that you were rooting for Norman Bates to have, the car go down into the bog.
Yeah.
You're rooting for some bad stuff in that movie by the end. You know what I'm saying? It's very powerful. But I don't need to see that again either.
No. All right, well, that's a great question. Thank you very much for submitting that. That was a really good one. And make sure all of you follow us on @ScreenJunkiesU on Twitter. Don't forget to watch the Honest Trailers commentary for Hobbs and Shaw, the new Honest Game trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2, and the latest real trailer for our Galaxy Quest documentary, Never Surrender, that was cut together by our very own Dan.
Oh, come on.
Boom.
Go watch it. We will see y'all here tomorrow. Bye.